Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. I work predominantly with avoidantly attached individuals. As a therapist in my practice, most of my patients are avoidantly attached. And I learned so much about the differences between them, but mostly I noticed the similarities between avoidance. And so something I see when I'm working with patients is not just who they were when I first got them, but also the other elements of as I continue to work with them, their life, the romance in their life, the family relationships, the struggle they have with work, the other struggles of their diagnostic impression that I'm not going to share on YouTube, but certain things that they struggle with in their life, the complexities of their life. And their relationships is a very common topic because that's something a lot of them struggle with, right? Another thing with a lot of my videos that I don't bring up often, but it's something to kind of recognize, a lot of my patients that come to me, I specialize in anger as well. I've mentioned that before, anger and personality disorders. And so sometimes you'll see a mix of that as well. I don't know if all avoidants struggle with anger, but most of my patients who come to me with anger issues, most of them have avoidantly attached issues, right? Either fearful or dismissive. And part of the reason why I do feel like there's a correlation is because they're not really allowed to show their feelings, so it comes out in anger. More common with avoidant men, but it's just a random piece of information I felt like to share. So today we're going to talk about how to know that an avoidant individual is emotionally bonded to someone. Who it is that they're actually bonded to is probably a better way to talk about it. And I think this topic is very important because avoidant individuals, when they emotionally bond to someone, they're committed. They're not really going anywhere. Avoidant individuals are very particular with who they commit to, and it's usually through their emotional bonding, okay? And so the very first one is somebody who agrees to disagree. This helps avoidant individuals feel loved and accepted by minimizing that ongoing conflict, and it also conveys that the individual who is okay with agreeing to disagree prioritizes peace and harmony in a relationship. With avoidant individuals, that can be very reassuring because avoidant individuals tend to be very conflict avoidant. And so they feel more secure recognizing, okay, I can express myself and we can agree to disagree, and you're not going to try and change me. We're just going to stand on our sides. And usually what ends up happening is because they were accepted with their original stance, they're actually more willing to compromise, because one of the barriers why avoidants don't want to change is because they don't feel like they're accepted. But once they feel like they're accepted, they're way more willing to. So agreeing to disagree helps an avoidant bond for those reasons, okay? The next one is somebody that they have been with long term. This one is just, it is what it is, but it's true. This is one of the most reasons why avoidants emotionally bond to someone, the person that's been there. Now, I'm not saying you have to stick around and let them not treat you right. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying most avoidant individuals, they love that continuous, usually it's if you guys are not off and on, they love that partner who's just been there and supports them and feels secure and comfortable. Avoidant individuals, I've mentioned this before, a little bit more common with fearful avoidance, but they tend to hold on to things for a very long time once they have finally decided that it is something they want. They take a long time to pick a house, but once they do, they pick it, right? They're doing their research and whatever, but they pick that house, they pick that car, and once they do, they are with that ride or die, right? And so avoidant individuals, they do that with people, right? They feel very safe with that person that's always been there, and they just don't want that person to go away. And so if y'all have been together for a long time, I would say most of the time they're not really going anywhere. You can go somewhere, but they're probably not going anywhere. The next one is avoidant individuals really appreciate somebody who is self-aware of what maybe they have done to trigger an avoidant, but self-aware in general. Particularly, let's say you acknowledge that maybe you text them a little bit too much when they're working and it can be very frustrating for them. You acknowledging and being self-aware that this is something you want to improve on for the relationship, and you're not just expecting them to improve or, compromise for the relationship. Avoidant individuals find this very attractive and very magnetic, honestly. I'm just being completely honest with you. They bond so deeply to somebody who does this. This is probably the most common one. avoidants love this, okay? The next one is very similar, apologizing. Mutual apologies, of course. You guys both want to apologize. But it's avoidant individuals really feel like, first of all, if you apologize, they feel more comfortable apologizing. And I'm not saying you have to be the first one to apologize. Absolutely not. But I'm just saying in general, apologizing, both of you guys modeling this type of behavior, avoidants love this because it makes them feel very vulnerable. It makes them feel like they can also get their needs met. And that means if you apologize, hey, I'm sorry, I was texting too much, I was anxious, but I shouldn't have done that. I really hope that you can forgive me. It's something I'm working on. You apologizing makes an avoidant feel, first of all, encouraged to apologize when they make mistakes as well, but they also feel that this relationship is theirs. Avoidant individuals are usually, obviously, less committed in the relationship. I'm not saying they're cheating. That's not what I'm saying. They're just less giving of themselves because they don't believe they can get their needs met. So when you apologize, you're saying your needs matter too. Sorry that I didn't think about that at that time. I want to put your needs forward as well as my own. And so suddenly what you have done is you have reinforced commitment in the relationship. You have reinforced that they should apologize as well, but they should accept this relationship. They don't need to be afraid because this person is going to acknowledge what they need in a relationship. It's very, very important. It's fundamental for their commitment. It's fundamental for their love and for them to bond with you and never leave, right? That's the hope. And this potentially encourages more bonding and more change on both sides. And avoidant individuals, they really appreciate somebody who is able to do that. And they feel encouraged to do the same thing. Avoidant individuals really look up to people who do this. It's very attractive to them, okay? The next one is, I guess, non-reactive or less reactive when a less reactive response, when things don't go their way. So let's say you are an anxious, preoccupied individual and you really do feel like seeing each other every other day is something you really need. It matters to you. It's really hard for you to not see your partner every other day, which I can appreciate, by the way. But avoidant individuals, let's say we have let's say a male avoidant, anxious, preoccupied female. He really doesn't feel like he can commit to that. He just isn't ready. He wants once a week and he's good. She wants once every other day. That's what she wants. Both of them are fine and they're right, but it's not working. And so he mentioned maybe they've been fighting about this for a long time and then one day he just put his foot down, whatever it is. Maybe he even crashed out and said, you know what? I can't. I cannot see you once every other day. I can't. I need time for myself. I have a busy job. Maybe he has a little side hustle going on. He's busy. And it's not that he doesn't like you. In this example, he's saying, it's not that I don't like you, but I can't commit to that right now. I don't know when it's going to happen. It's on my mind. I know that's what you want, but I cannot give you that right now. So this is what I have. This is all I have for you. If you don't like it, you can leave, right? Very common for avoidance to feel that way. If she responds, crashing out, you don't care about me. That's not fair. It's not healthy. It's not normal. Go get therapy. What's wrong with you? You're so detached. You don't know how unloved I feel. He might be less willing to emotionally bond with her because he feels unsafe. But if she reacts in a way where she says, okay, I am disappointed. This is not what I expected, but I appreciate you being honest with me. Yes, I do still want to be in a relationship with you. Yes, I still want to make this work, but I appreciate you explaining it to me. It helps me to realize why you're unable to see me the frequency I want. I'm okay with doing once a week, but maybe we can discuss this another time or revisit this when things are more calm with you at work or when we're more bonded, whatever the response is. And so that non-reactive response immediately allows him to feel his walls are down. He doesn't have to feel backed up in a corner and he can recognize, okay, she's willing to accept me. Maybe I can give her a little bit more of anything I have, or I'm going to work towards doing this for her because she was very understanding of me and I felt loved, right? And so that's an example. The next one is anybody who prefers peace over volatility. Avoidants love this. I think most of y'all know this. Any person who is focused on maintaining a peaceful relationship or just amicably addressing issues without crashing out or getting upset, avoidant individuals really appreciate a person like this. That doesn't mean you don't have to ever bring things up, and it doesn't mean you have to tiptoe around each other. All that it means is sometimes recognizing, okay, this conversation is getting a little bit too much for both of us to handle. Let's take a step back. I don't want to fight about this. Our relationship overall is pretty good. This is not that big of a deal. let's put it on the back burner, do something fun together, go out, get something to eat, and just put this on the back burner. Thank you for sharing what you shared. But I think this issue doesn't need to be resolved today, especially because it looks like we're both not ready. Let's talk about it another time. Something like that is completely fine for avoidant individuals. You guys can still hash it out a little bit, but once it gets to a certain threshold, step back, reevaluate, do something fun together, maybe look at it another time. Avoidants really love this, okay? They emotionally bond very strongly with this person. And the very last one, which I think is very important, and a lot of avoidants don't realize this is what they need until they have it, then they just love it so much, right? Somebody who has a tolerance for small mistakes. I think most people want this, right? Just allowing space for small errors. You don't need to reprimand every little thing, right? And so it helps foster a comfortable environment, a safe environment. And it helps reduce them of feeling judged, actually, and uncomfortable with the relationship. The relationship is safe for them. They can make mistakes and they can fix it, right? I saw this very recently with in one of my sessions. And this is very common with avoidantly attached individuals or relationships in general. So I'm not just giving their information. A lot of times it's common with married partners, right? Where a partner is like, I don't mind you going out and doing what you need to do, but I would appreciate if you come back around this time because I'm worried about you. It's not it's mutual, right? No one is forcing anybody to do this, right? It's just mutual. Maybe they have kids, maybe someone has a job tomorrow, or they need to do whatever they need to do. So you can go out, you can hang out with your buddies, but please come back around 1 a.m., right? Let's say it's a Saturday, okay? Because tomorrow we have some stuff we have to do. We got to prepare for Monday, whatever the reason is, okay? And let's say for whatever reason, avoidant got carried away and stayed out till 2, okay? Came home, went to bed next to his wife, whatever, and then in the morning woke up and mentioned, hey, I stayed a little bit later than I should have, but I feel still rested. I think we're okay, but I came home around 2, right? Small mistake, nothing wrong, doesn't even have an attachment issue, but some people might crash out about that. What were you doing? Who were you with? What's going on? Whatever. Instead of saying, okay, I appreciate you telling me, there's a reason why I said 1. We really have to make this flight or whatever. And you're tired, or we have to do this thing on Monday. We have a trip, whatever it is. And we promised that you would drive the first half so that I can do something on my laptop, whatever their whole reason is. I'm just making stuff up as I go, right? But this person had a reason why they said this, and it was an important reason. And the avoidant made a little bit of a mistake and prioritized something else instead of his family or whatever commitment he had to his partner. And that is a mistake. It's not a bad thing, but a little bit of a mistake. And she could be frustrated about that, but she can be. But she's tolerant. Okay, I hear what you're saying. We might have a slower start, or we may have to rush out of the house or whatever to get ready. So, next time, just appreciate that there's a reason I told you this, because, our plans are set back today. But thank you for telling me. I appreciate it. She's still tolerant. She's not saying, oh, completely fine, whatever. Maybe she can, because this example is really not that big of a deal. But the fact that she still stood her own perspective while being tolerant is probably the most important part of this. Avoidant individuals bond to people who can still be themselves, right? You're allowed to be upset. It doesn't mean you have to be tiptoeing, but it's very important to recognize tolerating small mistakes does not necessarily mean you're not going to bring them up, but it also means you're not going to reprimand them, okay? I hope that makes sense. So that's agree to disagree. Someone who's with them long-term, someone who has self-awareness, someone who apologizes, someone who's non-reactive, somebody who prefers peace over volatility, and someone who has tolerance for small mistakes. If you have all of these things, or you're trying to learn how to connect more with your partner, save your marriage, these are great elements to add into your relationship that really increases that bonding, okay? So I hope this video is helpful. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.